Peter O'Mahony, new captain of Munster. Now what we're basically touching on here is the rivalries and the local derbies, and for Ireland you've got 3, and for Munster you've got 3. How do you take to those? Has been more important or more edgy than the other games?
Yeah, I don't know about more important, but definitely there's a little bit more edge to it. Obviously you're playing against guys who you might be rooming with in Irish camp, who you've come up through underage squads with, and guys you know very well and who you're very good friends with. And you're in the dressing room beforehand screaming and roaring about them, and you're trying to rip each other's heads off during the game, which is special, I suppose. And it's.
Do you want to give them a bit more of a kicking because you know them, do you?
Probably, yeah. Which is probably a bit strange, but you know better than anyone. It's you're definitely looking to get one up for the few weeks before the next one comes around, you know. So it's there is something special about, I think, the rivalries in Ireland. Is they're a healthy rivalry, and as we talked about before, and they're put to bed after when you finish up. You know, you go for a beer with the boys afterwards, and you're best of buds again. Which
one do you think is the biggest one?
I think Leinster for us is probably the biggest one. Even though we're going well against Ulster as well, you know, they're both very big for us. I think Leinster probably is historically probably our biggest one, and it's the one we play before we get into our Heineken as well, and it's, I think last season's game in Thomond was one of the most physical games I've ever been involved in, regardless of what level. You know, it was insane at times, but it does give you a good lead into the following week. You know, there's no holding back, and it's definitely a good prep for the Heineken.
And do you recognise the big rise in intensity among the supporters even?
Yeah, I mean, well, you go to a full house normally, whether you're in Thomond or the Aviva, and there's a rivalry between the supporters as well, and there's good crack, you know. I mean, we both know from going to support either team, there's good healthy crack in the stands, but there's obviously there's a want to win as well from both sides, and it's what drives you.
Do you hear the banter?
I hear bits and pieces of it. It is very loud when you're trying to concentrate, but you do pick up a couple of funny lines, but you certainly couldn't be repeating at television interviews.
Yeah. And where is that most recognisable? Where do you hear that in Thomond or in the RDS or the Aviva? Where do you hear those? Where's the ground that has a bit of fun?
Yeah, I've never actually played Leinster in the RDS yet. Thomond is a bit closer than the Aviva, I think, so you probably pick up a few more lines there, but as I said, they're too much choice language now to be.
Now you've mentioned some of the guys that you'd be trying to give a kicking to and trying to avoid getting kicked by. Are there any particular individuals that you're just saying, yeah, I really want to play against him because I owe him one, I want to get one up on him? And
I suppose I'd be close enough with Ian Madding and above, and he'd be delighted for me to say that we enjoy playing against each other, and we have a couple of good shots of us, each other playing with and against each other, so he's a good fella to throw an elbow into the back of the head in when you get the opportunity, but you can be sure that'll come back as well at some stage. Probably a bit sneakier, but what can you do?
We're going to see more of him this year now that Johnny's gone off to Paris.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, he had a great season last season, and I've been lucky enough to watch him develop since we were younger, and he's a class act, and he's definitely one that Leinster will be looking to for the rest of the year. And
have you any predictions for this season?
Prediction-wise, I wouldn't be a big believer of long-term goals. It's more, especially with the way rugby's gone now. I think every weekend is a big game, whether it's Rabo, big games in the Rabo, Heineken, or November series, Six Nations. I mean, you can't really look past the following weekend, you know. So, forward to the next one.